So I'm Kevin Callahan. I'm the receivers coach over at Monmouth University, FCS program in New Jersey. And today, just going to talk a little bit about breakpoint fundamentals, how we teach it, show some show some drills that we do. And yeah, just excited to get right into it. So for us, breakpoints, there's really two main types of breakpoints. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We've got hard breakpoints, which are your 45-degree cuts, curls, comebacks, your 90-degree cuts, and then your 180-degree cuts, that we run a lot in our offense. And then we've got speed cuts, breaking in and breaking out, your speed cuts going either direction. So that's what we're going to talk about today, how we emphasize it, how we drill it, and then show you some game applications as well. So first starting to talk about hard break points again, like anytime you're getting out of a 45-degree angle, a 90-degree angle, or a 180-degree angle, which we call a retrace in our offense, it's really all about this deceleration rhythm, drop, rotate, and run. I need to drop my weight, I need to rotate my weight, and then I need to run out of the break in order to separate. And for us, the body position is much more important than the specific footwork. A lot of times I don't really care what foot you're dropping with, and I know a lot of people talk about a trigger step or a deceleration step. Not something that we really talk about a lot, or getting out in 3 steps versus getting out in 5 steps. To me, and here at Monmouth, it's much more important to emphasize the body position, dropping my weight, getting my hips down, getting my chest down, and then accelerating out of that break point. So key phrases that we use, when we're coaching hard break points, again, drop, rotate, run. That's the deceleration rhythm in terms of how we're getting out of it. Violent hips, so a violent hip drop when we're at that break point. Shoulders over toes is critical, bringing my chest down. So it's really violent hips, violent chest. You'll hear that phrase a lot, getting shoulders over toes. Inside the midline, this is going to show up when we're referencing our drive step. When we're getting out of the break, where that drive step needs to be located. And we'll talk about that as we get into it a little bit. Low in, low out is critical. Thinking about playing on levels, going into the break point low and exiting the break point low, and then running out. Something that I don't think gets emphasized enough is truly putting force into the ground, separating and running out of the break point in order to get away from the defender. So again, when we're coaching and going through these drills and talking about the fundamentals, those are the phrases that are going to show up a lot. So just to go into a little bit more detail, again, the drop, rotate, run is how we change direction. We need to drop our weight, we need to rotate our weight, and then we need to run out of the break. So drop, right? Drop references dropping our hips and our chest. And we're going to say violent hips. So we want to see a violent hip drop and then a violent chest drop as well. So this isn't, sitting in a chair where my hips are down and my chest is up. My hips are down and my chest is down. And getting into a position where my shoulders are over my toes and we're really getting our fingers to our shins. If we can get our fingers to our shins, then my shoulders are going to be over my toes and I'm going to have that violent chest drop as well. The second piece is the rotate. I need to get to a body position where my hips and feet are in the direction of my break point. I'm going to have a really hard time getting out of a curl, a 45, or a 180, okay, if my body is still facing that way. So we need to get to a position after we drop our weight where I'm rotating my hips and I'm rotating my feet so I can open that path and get out of the break much more efficiently. And it's going to be really important that the instep of my plant foot, that last step in the break, matches the path of where I want to go. And then run, right? Run is the last piece of it. That point where we're really going to separate from the defender. The drive step. This is the foot in the ground after that plant step where we're now transitioning to run out of the break. And the big thing with the drive step is to get it in the ground as fast as possible and get it inside the midline of our body. This isn't necessarily a step where we are going to gain ground. It's more so about how we are pivoting our hips and transitioning our weight to get out of the break as fast as possible. So in order to do that, we really just emphasize get that drive step in the ground and get it inside your midline. If that drive step crosses your body or crosses your midline, that's when you're going to get those more rounded break points and you're going to have a lot of inefficiencies at the break point. Talk about late eyes, okay? Your body is going to follow your eyes. So if your eyes are early, your chest is going to come up, your shoulders are going to come up, and you're not gonna have balance and power at the break point, right? That's when a lot of guys slip or lose their balance or lose power is because they're peaking the break early, right? We want you to finish the break, have late eyes. In hard break points, your eyes should be last out of the break. You will find the ball, but it's more important to keep your eyes down, which will keep your chest down, finish the break, okay? And then as you start to transition, that's when you're bringing your eyes out of the break to give you full balance and power in the transition. And then the last piece, but probably the most important piece, is you have to run out, okay? Like you have to run out. You have to accelerate to separate from the defender. And speed is force into the ground. I think it's something that we emphasize a lot is in that run phase or that drive phase, you need to put force into the ground. And what's really important or helps us get there is this idea of being low in and low out. And this specifically references our shoulder plane or our shoulder level is we want low shoulders into the break point and we want low shoulders out of the break point, really referencing our entry level and our exit level. Our path into the break point and our path out of the break point should be at the exact same level. When we give indicators to the defensive back that we're breaking down, too often we're changing levels. As receivers, we want to exist on two levels. I'm going into the break point at one level, I'm dropping my weight to a second level, and I'm exiting the break point at that second level. Times where we give an indicator is we're running into the break point at one level, we start to raise up or wind up, which brings our shoulders high, giving the DB an indicator that we're breaking down. And then we're dropping down to get out of that break, right? It's three level. I'm in on one, I'm raising my shoulders to two, I'm dropping on three. Not efficient, giving the DB an indicator. Or we're running into the break point on one, we're dropping on two, and then as we exit that break point, we're popping our shoulders up, not running out and not separating. So in the entry and exit of our breakpoints, we want to be low in, low out. We want to play on two levels. If we're playing on a three level or a four level, then we're not going to be as efficient as possible in order to get out of that. So just taking a look at some examples here of what we're talking about, the hard break point, this is a really good example. And here we're working 180-degree break. So we're coming right back down our stem. All right. So again, you see he's full speed, full stride into the break point. I'm running, dropping down to the second level, violent hip drop, violent chest drop, shoulders down, fingers to shins, and that drive step's going to be in the ground as fast as possible. In on one level, drop to a second level, violent hips, violent chest, and we're getting it out of it efficiently. Same idea, all right, up top here. Another 180-degree break. It's drop, violent hips, violent chest, fingers to shins, rotate, and then run out of the break. So when we're talking about hard break points, it's drop, rotate, run. It's violent hips, violent chest, shoulders over toes, fingers to shins, drive step in the ground inside my midline as fast as possible, and we're running out. So those are examples of breaks, that we're talking about when we say hard break points.